key, and there's no PKI. They might not be able to get to a root server anyway.
Could we just use single key for the laptops? I mean, an OLPC key that all countries.
And then we give it to all the countries, and basically to anybody who downloads the school server.
Well, no.
Because I'm distributing the school server.
No, you just think about certificates.
No, the root certificate, not the.
Yeah, but do we want a unique certificate on every machine, or do we want just one certificate?
No, they can be multiple as long as the root certificate.
Right, but I don't want to go in the certificate generation business. I mean,
Yeah. Scott, the difficulty, so I'm actually concerned with a different difficulty here, which is I'm a little bit scared by the idea that the laptops are going to prove their identity to anybody who says, I'm a school server, who are you?
Well, we can fix that, and that's relatively simple, and we can sort that out at registration time. So at registration time, the laptops already go, is there anyone around here who's called school server? And do you talk on port 8080? And do you speak my funny XML RPC lingo? And that's trivial, and that's a magic, that's a point of trust. We close our eyes and we say we trust. At that point, we could get a certificate from the school server. So the risk point is happens once. And
that's common configuration with Puppet and things like that. It's a well-known mechanism for passing around certs. You have a discoverable name that you expect clients to expose, or expect servers to expose, and then you do a one-time fetch of a cert.
yeah.
And you can also have the ability on the server side to look at the certs that have been passed out to make sure you're passing them to real clients and only activating them when they're clients that you trust. So there's all kinds of mechanisms around that that are being practiced. Mostly those are enterprise business deployment practices. There's no reason to apply here.
Yeah, one of my key requirements here is to not add a major burden to countries that are setting up, say, 5,000 servers, right? And they just have one image and they want to just set up all the 5,000 servers, right? And distribute them to schools and also say half of these schools don't have internet access. So the whole relying on PKI, on real, formally structured PKI infrastructure, it's probably a no-go because of all this friction.
But why do we need this? Why do we need this?
To establish an HTTPS connection. And that's what Michael was saying.
So
It is a relatively standard way of doing it. Otherwise, we can.
I think asking Marco was asking, why do we try to bother with this at all instead of why this protocol? Is that correct?
Okay.
Or did you want to know both?
oh, okay, but we'd like the students to be able to log into the school server without typing in some password.
Okay.
Right.
Perhaps we can. The school server already has our public SSH key. If we can prove we have the private
I
one.
need to listen to
I
Marco.
think we are talking about two different problems. Like logging in is one problem, and the other is client authentication is. We are talking both about client and about server authentication.
Yeah.
And so what I don't quite understand is the server authentication part.
Is why do we care
Why
about
do
that?
We don't necessarily care, but once you're
Well,
doing
so
it,
I
No,
guess
no.
We do care, okay? And the reason why we care is because we're going to say things to that server with the expectation that we've already trusted them with a bunch of stuff. That it's the same server we talked to last time.
I mean, like, Michael is concerned that somebody could impersonate the server
yeah.
to grab kids' secrets.
There's a more basic reason, which is neglecting all the security stuff. Firefox is going to throw up, and Gecko too, throw up huge security errors if you just give a random certificate.
Yes.
When you and we're not going to make them all pay money to VeriSign or something. One option is we do ship the OLPC certificate authority on every laptop. One idea is to have one certificate that every school server has that will be sufficient to get past that bar. But can we do better, and should we do better?
Yeah. But that's trivial because anybody can get our RPMs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? I mean, so all that does is establish the HTTPS connection.
Look if it's connected to the school server, server
Okay.
accept the single.
Okay, one way, but okay, one way.
That's what SSL is for.
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you tell if you tell Firefox that a particular certificate is whitelisted? Fine, but I don't know if it's easy for us to get into the machinery of Firefox when it says, I'm not sure if this certificate is valid, and it's a certificate you've never seen. I don't know enough about that wiring, but I think it's a.
I'm pretty sure it's a part of OpenSSL. You can add it to
The bundle.
Yeah. Just need
Wait. I mean, there's a certificate chain, but ultimately somebody's got to sign it. And I'm telling you, I'm not going to sign a certificate for every school server. My life's too short.
That's a really good conversation to have.
The idea is just to, I mean, could we take the SSH approach where you just want to make sure it's the server you're talking to now is the same server you're ready to
Right.
talk to?
Yeah,
That's what
but to
Martin
do that, we
suggested.
probably have to hack Firefox internals.
No. You can install a certificate into its database.
Sorry?
You're just installing your cert into its database.
Okay, so
Right, that
you
makes
install the
Is that as part of
certificate.
Registration.
Well, that's why I proposed registration, but people are
Right.
shooting at me.
No.
I propose
Martin,
exchanging
you
that in
misunderstood.
registration.
We thought the registration idea was fine.
Okay, so if we can get that certificate during the registration process, we can whitelist it, and the bootstrapping process is gone. And I agree. That's fine with me. That's fine with me. We can take another track. So I mentioned this is one track. There's another track that is avoiding HTTPS completely, and is making a request, perhaps a random request, with a random string. Not a random request, a request to a pre-agreed URL with a random string, and signing it with the private SSH key. I think we can probably use the SSL libraries to use it as a signing key. With the private SSH key, we already told the server. And in that case, the client is only authenticating himself or herself to the server. The server is not authenticated in any way, and at that point the server just gives you a cookie, and from that point onwards you are you because you have an HTTP cookie. Nothing is encrypted, lot less stressful, much simpler.
Can this integrate with OpenID?
So I've said
Can this integrate with OpenID?
OpenID is alright once you've done the authentication. At this stage, OpenID is no good.
Right. So the situation is you could use this as the basis to have the server represent an OpenID provider.
Yes.
For you, but you got to prove yourself to the server.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. is
Once we have
we've
the
done
school
that,
server, the school server can be an OpenID provider of us when we go to Gmail.
or to
But
middle,
that's the
right?
later stage, and that's only if the school server is on the internet, with a real public IP address, which right now kind of dodgy proposition.
Just for reference, there are two other decent ways of approaching this. One is that the laptops come pre-equipped with a nice secret in the form of the serial number you there. You can generate lots of sub-secrets from that. And the second thing is that you can make this go in the opposite direction too, where so the client pokes the server, okay, it just pings it. The server HTTPS is back to the client in order to get it started.
Okay, that forces us forces us to our school server scenario. That means that won't work through NAT. So if we do that scheme, we're kind of toast with what I was saying earlier, that if we later want to use it, someone wants to use the authentication scheme in a different environment where Sugar is still interesting and some form of school server implementation is still interesting, NAT transversal is going to kill us. I mean, I'm just talking about the reverse connection.
Yeah. FTP used to have a protocol like that, and it was a nightmare. I'll just note that we've got 10 minutes according to the clock. I think we could be a little generous with that, but we
10
should let
minutes.
Martin
So
finish
okay,
his talk.
Which I encourage, so
I have a
Ah,
couple
sorry,
questions.
be acknowledged.
Okay, there are a couple more things I want to touch on, and I'm happy to take more browser discussion later. That's me. Sorry.
Oh, I just wasn't familiar with the registration. What information is supposed to
Right now, very little. Right now, we are telling when the laptop is first
SSH
booted
key
first
and
time. Huh?
SSH key and nickname.
Yeah, SSH key, name, the UUID. I'm not sure if it's being exchanged.